and relaxed. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello and thank you for watching.
Will, in the pantheon of TOFOP storylines or recurring stories and themes, what would you say ranks above and beyond everything?
Biggest horse in all of Norway.
Towers over everything else. Voted number one in the TOFOP board, the biggest horse in all of Norway artwork.
I think like 3 of the top 10 artworks were literally about the biggest horse in all of Norway.
Spawned a mini-series, The Biggest Stories in All of Norway, where Elias took us through his entire family history.
I never knew anything about Norway before this horse.
That's right. Well, I knew a little bit about Norway, but nothing captured my imagination quite like the story of Balder, the biggest horse in all of Norway.
Now,
we have some...
What if we don't... We have some news.
We have some major
breaking
news. But before we get to
Balder,
that, let's just do a little recap of our journey with the biggest horse in all of Norway.
Great.
Something like that, Mike?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right.
So there you have it.
Okay. So there you have it. What a storied life.
What a journey.
What a journey.
Some highs, some lows, some twists, some turns.
I mean, you'll I don't know if this is ironic, but at one stage he died and came back.
He rose again.
He rose again.
Like the Lord Jesus Christ himself.
Well, I have a very important update. This is from Elias. Dear Will and Charlie, I hope you're both well. You should probably sit down before you read the rest of this message.
Oh, this will be good news.
It saddens me deeply to inform you the passing of Balder, more famously known as the biggest horse in all of Norway. As you both know, he was very old and very fat.
Yes.
And the combination of those two factors...
Not as fat, though, as his brother.
His other brother.
Yeah,
much smaller, but much
fatter. Fatter, smaller brother.
I was going to say something cruel about the Hemsworths.
No, we can't. Let's not make this personal. It's about the horses and the horses
But there is
alone.
a small... Anyway, okay, moving on. Siblings. We're not talking about siblings. Smaller, fatter siblings.
We're not.
Okay, anyway. I got
We shouldn't even body shame these horses.
Okay. He had an ugly fall while on a carriage ride with a carriage full of old people from a retirement home, weighing roughly 1,450 kilos. It was quite a task getting him untangled from the carriage and on his feet again. Later that day, he was retired from work in the farm, and he got to relax the rest of the winter before he was put down in February at the age of 34 years. That's a good innings, right? I mean, what do horses live to normally?
I don't know.
30 seems about right.
It's two guys
totally guessing.
Anywhere between 25 and 250 years. Like if someone told me that, like when they race,
if they told you a horse was
when
70,
they
you'd say that's too old. Hang on, Mike's got
25 to 30 is a good
25
run.
is well.
So
that's
an exceptional innings.
And what are horse years? Do they do like a thing like with dog years? Because I'd love to know what.
It's like 1,000.
Like the oldest horse in all of Norway,
older
also
than
the
Jesus.
biggest and the oldest.
He meant a lot to a lot of people and spread joy to children visiting the farm and on a strange imaginative radio show in Australia. Well, that is very complimentary that you think we're a radio show. I grew up with that horse, and I could never have imagined that he would give me the great opportunity to chat to you guys. And he was a kind and beautiful soul, a sort of gentle giant, except for the time he nearly ended my life with a kick to the chest.
Which is how we met him.
Which is...
I mean, that was the, like, before the credits introduction to the character for us was like nearly killed one of our listeners.
Yeah. And the way it was described too, you imagine the hoof was the size of Elias's chest.
And you felt like that Balder was like a killer animal.
Yeah.
But it turns out
rogue. Like back in the 70s, like after Jaws, when every like film was about a giant animal going crazy, like Cujo or Orca.
That's what I was imagining.
Balder.
But it just turns out that Balder was a lovely horse who had a bad day.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
You don't walk behind a horse.
Yeah.
I worked in McLeod's daughters for 2 years. That's what they always said. Don't walk behind the horses. You'll get
and
bloody
then one
kicked.
day I came in and they said, today you can walk behind the horse.
And they were trying to kill me, it turns out. That's how, like, when you get written out of McLeod's daughters, they just tell you to walk behind the horse.
They take you for a little walk. We've just got to go for a little walk behind the horse.
Why are we meeting at dawn in the paddock?
Behind the horses.
What's this ditch?
Yeah. Now, you know what all the horses are? Sneak up.
Scare
I'll be
one.
waiting.
Mike, horse
It's
shoes?
sort of interesting, right? So it's not linear. So one horse year is
6.5.
2 horse years, you're a teenager, but then
Yeah.
every other year, it's about 2.5 years.
Okay, so what's
Oh.
35?
So it's a rapid
what's-
acceleration
So
to.
if you're
what's
So if you're
35?
10-year-old horse is a 35-year-old.
Yeah,
so-
but what's a 35-year-old horse?
Oh, fuck, Adam Spencer.
No, we can work
70.
it out.
This was 100 and hold on, 35, 70,
Oh,
105,
no.
105,
Adam's yelling.
115.
doing?
Fuck Adam, like 117 years old.
100 plus, we can say though.
Yeah.
So
Old
he
horse.
was a
Old horse.
geriatric
Yeah.
ferrying around geriatrics in
Yeah,
his
that's right.
in his, which is not a. I mean, would you say that he died doing what he loved? Being big.
You know what I love the most in my life? Just being big.
Just being
Just
big.
being-
Huge, just being swole.
Just, you know what? Just being the biggest.
Yeah.
Just being bigger than any other horse I ever saw.
But it's,
I wonder if Boulder knew that Boulder was bigger than other horses, because Boulder wouldn't have met Boulder would only meet a certain amount of horses.
That's right.
It's not like Boulder's meeting all the
it's
horses
not a wild
in
horse.
Norway.
No.
And so Boulder probably never knew that Boulder was the biggest horse in all of Norway.
So he didn't get any self-awareness
No,
about his...
so that's what kept Boulder humble in our
Oh,
hearts. That Boulder didn't know. Boulder didn't know that Boulder was this is how meaningless the nature of celebrity is, guys.
Mm.
Is like Boulder was famous, like on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's posters and merchandise made of Boulder.
Yeah, you can
We
literally buy a t-shirt.
followed the story of Boulder. And you know who didn't know about any of that bullshit? Boulder.
That's what makes it beautiful. He was. It's funny. I took Iona.
Podcasting, eh?
I was in Melbourne a few weeks ago and took Iona to the museum, and she went and saw File Lab, and
Yeah.
she was horrified.
Yeah. Well,
Bloody
'cause isn't
idea.
it like a
The taxidermed,
yeah?
and then I think the heart's in
That's-
Sydney,
It's not the way to meet Farlap in
No.
pieces in a museum.
just like a zombie File Lab.
No, you've got to meet Farlap in full flight.
Yeah, that's how we should remember Boulder.
Yeah.
Just tromping around paddocks, just kicking little Norwegian boys in the chest.
That's how I'll remember Boulder. Rising from the dead. That's how I remember
Yeah.
Boulder.
Elias finishes off by saying, now Boulder rides eternally in horse heaven,
Yeah.
hell or Valhalla, with his slightly less fat and less huge brother. So 1 minute of silence for the biggest horse in all of Norway. Love from your Norwegian friend, Elias. So we won't give him a minute, but let's give him 10 seconds of silence. Do you think that's enough?
Starting now.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That seems not long enough. Boulder, the world's biggest horse. I fucked it up. Boulder, the biggest horse in all of Norway. We salute you. Well, you all right?
I'm giving him the whole minute.
Oh, really? But we do have one more.
What?
Well, I'll put some cannon sound effects in there. Is that good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ka-chung.
So
At least
come on. Oh, yeah.
7 of those.
We're doing it. We're going to do a 6 cannon salute
Yeah.
to Boulder. And then we have one more special surprise here. Elias, first of all, commiserations
Yes.
from the other side of the world.
Thank you.
Boulder was a huge part of the show, and I'm not using huge pejoratively. I mean, he was literally, how many episodes? Like 4, 5, maybe 6 episodes of this show, plus its own dedicated series. So we're very saddened to hear about the passing of the biggest horse in all of Norway.
I don't think I'd ever thought about Norway or horses in the amount that I have just based on this story and this story alone. And now I feel like it's one of those things that now that it's gone, I don't know what's going to fill that big horse-shaped hole in my heart. Obviously in your letter you told us about the fact that, these things do happen, and of course it was the end of a glorious life. But now that you've had some time to process it and think about it, what are your great memories?
My greatest memories, of course, are being kicked by that giant stupid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also a lot of, if I'm being honest, a lot of nice memories riding around, just having him around. He was a beautiful soul and a nice presence to have. Also, it's it's not common for a horse to be radio famous in Australia. So that's pretty neat as well.
Well, that's where we'll correct you because one of the most famous Australian celebrities is in fact a horse by the name
All
of
right.
Farlap. Have you heard of Farlap?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
No.
and Farlap shared something in common with Boulder in that he had a huge heart. In fact, it's in a museum. It's studied because his heart was considered to be twice the size of a regular racehorse.
I feel like Boulder's heart is the sister heart to Farlap's heart.
That's
you know,
right.
like when like cities have sister cities, I feel like we've been connected through our love of an enormous horse. But like where does Boulder rest now? Like what happens? Like
It's
what happens?
it's quite difficult to get rid of 1,500 kilos monstrosity when it's lifeless. It's
Yeah.
Such
it's-
beautiful
it was hard
words,
enough-
Elias.
Yeah,
I mean, it
was
goes from
hard
a
enough
glorious creature to
to,
a problem
heavy
very quickly,
monstrosity.
doesn't it?
it is a problem, right? But it was hard enough to get him where he wanted when he was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't boss him around, or you couldn't at least. But no, they get a big truck with a big crane. It's not a pretty sight, and they tie him up, lift him up, dump him in the. I'm getting a countdown. And dump
Oh,
him.
is that what that's
the
what you're
trailer.
doing, Mike? It's okay. It's fine. Mike's doing something at the moment, apparently.
All right.
Hang on, Will. Is it all good?
Sorry, guys. All good. Keep going, mate.
Okay, great.
Yeah, wasn't it that? I know one horse from Australia. Isn't it that horse that won Sportswoman of the Year?
Oh yes,
Was that
remember?
Winx? No.
No, it was
Oh,
Black
no,
Caviar.
Black-
I
Oh.
think.
Yeah.
I think Black Caviar. The fact that we had options for that, by the way,
Was it?
says something about which of our famous horses was it? Do you think?
Now, Elias, I want to ask, like, as we know about your family, big into their extreme sports, like giant
Yes.
water slides, giant slingshots. Was there any discussion around sending out Boulder in a Viking style, like setting him on fire and slinging him across the farm or anything like that?
Yeah, down
Like a
the-
giant
down the
horse-shaped
side.
comet?
Yeah.
No, actually, we had right after his death, we had a huge fire on the farm.
Oh.
My sister just moved in at my father's place in a little cabin, and
Yeah.
she called me up one day and opened the phone call with, "Hey, how are you?" And because she's always the bearer of bad news, my mother was struck by lightning a couple of years ago, and she sent me a text, which was, "Mother is struck by lightning. It is bad." And text. And I couldn't get a hold of anyone for a couple of days after I was.
I'm sorry, we have to stop down.
Sorry.
We did an entire series dedicated to your family, the biggest stories in all of Norway. Did this happen recently? How did you neglect to tell us your mother had been
Your
struck by...
mother- it's like just so whatever in your family law that someone got struck by lightning that it only comes up to give an example of your sister being the bearer of bad news.
No, it was probably 2017, 18. It's
Okay.
some years ago.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's mostly fine now. She just after it happened, her memory was wiped. She
Oh,
lost a
wow.
couple of years, but it came back over a month.
Did she,
Anyway.
is the first thing she said when you brought her home from the hospital was like, "Who's that giant horse?" What's that?
We
Is that
actually
real?
Brought the horse to the hospital. No.
All right.
Anyway, so my sister rang me up, and just because I've made it very clear, I would like her to break bad news better to me, so I don't get a shock every
Yeah,
time
right.
she rings. So she's like, "How are you?" And then I'm all right. Have a bit on my plate, and then she blurts out, "My house burned down tonight."
Oh, yeah,
What?
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
no.
She had been laying in bed and thought it was weird that the walls were crackling so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and so she got out to the living room and lay there, and she told me she remembered looking at the ceiling and wondering, why is the ceiling red? So so she ran out to the farm boy who lives there. He's from Lithuania, doesn't speak very good English, and my sister just doesn't either. So she's just screaming to him, "The roof is red! The roof is red!" And he gets up and sees the entire roof on fire, and she runs to get my father, who's also sleeping. This is in the middle of the night, and he comes out just in his underpants, is going to try to fix this. And my sister asks, "Are we not supposed to call the fire department?" But my father, of course, doesn't trust the fire department. He
of course.
Of
doesn't want
course.
to call them.
Wh-
Yeah.
Why does he not
Why
trust
doesn't he,
the
doesn't
fire
he trust the
department?
fire department?
It's a good question. I think the fire department is probably the most noble of the three
Right.
emergency.
Is your father
Anyway.
just, is he sick of them always posing for those calendars where they're
Yeah,
like
it's
holding
like,
a
think
rubber
they're-
tire or
they
something
think
like
they're so
Yeah,
sexy.
with their fireman calendars?
Yeah, he would want the he would want the farmer calendars to
Yeah.
sell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Doesn't want to fund that. It's also probably because that little cabin she lived in is not strictly
Oh.
legal.
Yeah,
All
that's right.
Not,
yeah.
not built to code.
Wouldn't have been up to fire code. He would have been like bloody
Yeah.
fire department, always telling me that that's a death trap.
Not to
Oh,
put my children
my
in there.
daughter's living in there. Can't be a death trap.
So just
He
back,
didn't
but,
want-
Yeah.
sorry, back to Boulder just for
Yeah.
a second.
yeah, sorry.
No, sorry to you. Obviously, our condolences go out to you. But did you have any kind of the family get together? Were there any words shared? Like, obviously, you said in your letter that he was an integral part of the community, did horse rides for the kids and the elderly. So I imagine there would have been some kind of like acknowledgement of his passing, some kind of ritual or ceremony.
Yeah, it was. We got together and looked at pictures of him and
Wide
Sort
shots
of.
mostly, I
Yeah,
imagine,
I
or
know, big, yeah.
drone shots actually. Google Maps stuff.
the only horse
Yeah.
visible from
That's
space.
right. I mean, I am interested in that though. Has there been a commemoration of his life?
Yeah.
Like, has anyone got a tattoo? Is there a local a plaque in the local town? Like, I mean, has this horse meant as much, I guess, to the community in Norway as it's meant to two podcasters in Australia?
The Everyone Relax community.
Yeah.
The honest answer is probably not.
Right. Okay. Well, then I guess this is the tribute.
Yeah. this
We're
is
the
our
people who,
tribute.
I guess, we're looking for answers from maybe where the answers are right here.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
what did
right.
this horse mean to us?
What did the horse mean to us? We know what so I've recently remodeled my podcast studio. So I've moved into a different space. And so I used to have lots of TOFOP artwork, but I wasn't able to bring that Fosdike's artwork into my new space. I was able to choose two pieces. And one of the ones I chose was the biggest horse in all of Norway, which I think when we did our Tofarchibald a year ago
Yes,
was
number one.
voted by the listeners as the number one piece of art. And
Yeah, and I think 3 of the top 10 were all
horse
big
related.
horse-related.
It turns out we never realized, but that was our secret like audience demographic was horse lovers.
Yeah.
I
But
have my biggest horse poster also
Yeah, right.
in my apartment.
yeah, it's one of James Fosdike's
be
absolute
honest.
best ones. But just
It's a great one.
the idea, but Will's right. Like every time a mention of Norway happens, the first thing my brain goes to is what's the biggest horse?
Well, basically,
Yeah.
the one thing I knew about Norway, I don't know anymore
Yeah.
because I used to know where the biggest horse was.
And I even dated, like, one of my first girlfriends was Norwegian.
Ah.
Well, she was born in Australia,
Yeah.
but her mother was Norwegian and she spoke Norwegian. And so, like, the biggest horse has supplanted her when it
Yeah.
comes to my association
course.
with Norway. It's now all about Boulder. As you said, either galloping in the skies of Valhalla or the fiery pits of hell. I mean, he lived a colourful life. He tried to kill you once or twice.
Yes.
But he also contributed back to the community, which I think proves there's a redemption arc even for giant horses.
For everyone.
For everyone.
I
There's
think
hope.
it's also he was presumed dead at one point earlier.
That's
right?
true.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, I think this is why when the call finally came,
Mm.
I was like, yeah, that feels right. It
Yeah,
feels
ready
like
for it.
it feels like it's the time because we had that close call,
Yeah.
that scare where we
Yeah.
thought it was all over before it had even begun.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, no, let him. You know what? It's time to. You're getting too old for this shit.
Yeah. I mean, do you
Yes.
think it diminishes the legend of his bigger, fatter? Well, not his bigger, his fatter brother.
Yeah.
What's his brother's name again?
He's less big, but more
Less
fat
big,
brother.
but fatter brother. Yeah. Does it diminish him at all now? Because he was, at least you'd commemorate him while Boulder was still alive. But now it's like, well, the rock stars died, so we're all going to be talking
Yeah.
about Boulder.
No one
interesting.
remembers Elvis's brother, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah,
it's
nice
true.
go. Musician. Clearly
Yeah.
great reference. Elias, thank you
you.
so much for taking the time to update us. Once again, commiserations. I'm sure
Yes.
everyone listening send their best to you.
Genuinely, from
and
the
your
behalf
family.
of the Everyone Relax community, the biggest fans of Boulder, it turns out, in the entire world.
Almost as big as
My
the horse
father's a
itself.
pragmatic man. He just horse is gone, need new horse.
Oh my God.
Well, we won't be replacing Boulder that quickly.
We won't.
No.
But next time your brothers decide
Yes.
to build some giant contraption, please keep us in the loop. We'd love to check in with you again and find out what's
I will,
happening
of course.
in Norway.
Sorry about getting on the tangent about the fire. It was just my father had to get up onto the roof with a chainsaw, cut down. That was the
I
point.
mean,
Yeah,
the
cut off
point,
the
you
ceiling.
know what the point, no, the point is this, that you have like a million stories. And so every time you start telling one story, you get like three. But and this is just incidental. But my mother got struck by lightning. That wasn't even part of it.
My
That's
sister
not
was in
even
a house
important
fire.
to
Yeah.
the story.
Did I ever say that the Boulder was actually once the Prime Minister of Norway
Yeah.
at one point?
And then when Boulder died, they cut Boulder open, and there was actually
16
an entire
tiny little
small
horses.
village inside.
All right, Elias, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Enjoy your evening or your morning, whatever it is for you.
Morning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, mate.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.
Well, I don't know. I feel what a journey. I
We
feel like
laughed. We cried.
we laughed, we cried. We found out that
We learned about
Ellis's
Norway.
mother was struck by
Struck by
lightning. He just
lightning.
failed to
That's
neglect
even
it.
just a side story
I
that
know,
got brought up
right?
in the final episode. They've just revealed that out of the blue.
I mean, it's a good setup for a sequel. That's the
I mean,
post-credit
that is,
sequence. Is
yeah.
now I need to know about. Well, the fire, which I think we
We
brushed
get a
up-
flashback.
We were so shocked by
Yeah.
the lightning that we didn't properly
Even
absorb
really
the fact that his
fire. I
sister
don't even, I'm not
died.
sure I fully understand what happened at the fire.
and that
at
his
the farm.
father doesn't want to call the fire
Nah,
department for some reason.
I mean, I feel like there's a whole bunch of spin-off potential here.
I think this just pays further heed to the idea that we need to get over to Norway. We need to be sponsored to fly out to the farm, the Torp farm, and participate in one of these rave/slingshot events.
Yeah, I know, but it feels like a death trap now, doesn't it?
Well, only if
used
they
to think
we can
I
stay.
used to like all these reassurances about the fact that these slingshots have been worked out perfectly, but now I hear that Dad doesn't trust the fire
No,
department.
but Dad doesn't build the slingshots.
know,
That's the
but
brothers. That's
like
the.
father, like son. You know what I'm saying?
You think?
No, I don't know.
Why don't we? Have you ever seen that horror film Midsummer with
Yes.
Florence Pugh and she goes?
This
to
is what I
like-
think of every time
Yeah,
I think of going to
that's
Norway.
right.
It's a good
It's
idea.
like, yeah, we're gonna go
Yeah.
like on a big water slide, and then it's like we get stuck in the Wicker Man and sacrifice to some
Yeah, I saw Midsummer.
pagan
Like,
god.
actually, I only saw the first half, but it looked fun.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, okay.
Yes.
That is a lovely button on the biggest horse in all of Norway. I get the feeling this is not the last we're going to hear from Elias. And
I get the feeling too that, like, I can't remember what we discovered. Maybe there was a bigger horse in all of Norway like these days, right?
I'm still getting sent people tag me in big horse photos and stuff
Yeah.
from time to time.
But maybe there's like we look at it. There's another horse out there that now is the biggest horse in all of Norway.
Who is the
a
new
space-
biggest?
Oh,
Who wants to be the?
Search.
Yeah, we'll start a series called "Who Wants to Be the Biggest Horse in All of Norway."
Well, who is the current biggest horse in all of Norway? The position is open.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a horse that is taller but another one that's longer, which is the
Do
truly
you
the
have a
biggest
big horse? We have a big horse opening.
horse off? We love horse on this show, and by that we mean horses, not the euphemism for heroin.
What a note to end on.
We've been doing a long bulk record today. I think that's a good place as any to leave it. Remember, you can support us on
Yes.
patreon.com/everyonerelax. Will's on tour.
I am.
There's all
Comedy.com.au.
links in the show notes. We'll be back again next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
Yeah.